Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and are you tired of the hectic release schedule of the Magic the Gathering cards? They're putting out set after set, card after card. It's just so much to keep up with. Are you tired of it? Oh, what? You are? Well, you're wrong. According to this article from MTG Rocks, MTG players finally accept Wizards' relentless release calendar. Have you accepted it? Or, is this speaking for all of us instead of, actually talking to the fans and figuring out what we actually think? No. Apparently we're all just completely cool with Magic the Gathering. Hasbro, Papa Hasbro, Witches of the Coast, just shoving product down our throat, not giving us a chance to play catch up or really enjoy the game because they're too busy worrying about making a quick buck. Let's go through this article, and I will explain to you why MTG Rocks, this awful Magic the Gathering website, needs to stop licking Hasbro's Swiftfoot boots. Throughout 2022, many of MTG's myriad releases were fraught with controversy. For instance, the bold and bizarre mechanics of Infinity drew the ire of many seasoned players. Alongside this, the expansion of the Universes Beyond line to include Warhammer 40k commander decks frustrated those who didn't approve of this game's directions. After these sets launched, however, it seemed that players had been getting themselves worked up over nothing. Despite all the hubbub, Infinity cards were nowhere to be found in Commander, and Warhammer 40k decks were surprisingly beloved. Why are all these about Commander? I get it. It's the most popular format, but at the end of the day, it is not the only format. So far, we've talked about how, the Commander decks are for, Warhammer 40k Commander decks, and the Infinity cards were nowhere to be found in Commander. You guys know there's other formats, right? Anyway, while these potential problems may have been a damp squibs, 2022 was plagued by another plight, the overwhelming release calendar of MTG. Moving into 2023, however, it appears that players are finally coming around to this once contentious issue. No, we're not. Quit speaking for all of us, MTG Rocks. You got a handful of individuals on Twitter or on a subreddit or whatever that said that they were giving up, that they're fine with it, or that they're okay with it, and you're using those comments to speak for the majority of us. But if this was the majority of us, if the majority of us were chill with it, Hasbro wouldn't have had a 42% stock drop last year and a projected 29% additional stock drop this upcoming year, this upcoming first quarter even, as projected by Bank of America. Stop sucking up to Papa Hasbro. You could be better than this and actually speak for us, the fans, rather than trying to get your backdoor paychecks for speaking nice about Witches of the Coast. Obtusely overwhelming schedule. Previously, the overwhelming cadence of MTG release calendar was a hugely problematic issue for players. Even devoted fans of Magic who've spent 30 years playing the game are now struggling to keep up. This is hardly a surprise when you remember that throughout 2022, a new MTG product was released every 4 days on average. I don't know if that's true. This could just be hyperbole, but honestly, if you broke down the math, I wouldn't actually be surprised if that was an accurate average. Collectors who could once attain everything were even worse off, thanks to Wizards releasing an inordinate number of art treatments. Due to these issues constantly frustrating players, fans routinely asked Wizards to fix their release calendar woes. Unfortunately for already overwhelmed players, however, Wizards of the Coast didn't plan to slow down anytime soon. And this is why we hate you, Wizards of the Coast. This is why you have people who are fans like me, fans of this game. Magic the Gathering is my favorite game. Stop buying cards. I have not bought any Magic product that wasn't, a used single, from my local game shop. I've not purchased any sealed product since Midnight Hunt, the Innistrad. Maybe I bought some Double Masters for a buddy for like a birthday gift or something. When was this? Last summer? Not this past summer, but the summer before that, if I remember correctly. So it's been about a year and a half since I purchased a Magic the Gathering product. That is a major problem. Someone like me, who's been a dedicated fan for years, not buying a new product because I'm so upset with you as a company, I'm not the only one. Mercifully, this immensely frustrating issue faded in intensity over the holiday period. No, it didn't. It didn't fade in intensity at all. Over the holiday period was when they had their biggest loss, because that's when the 42% stock drop was. People weren't buying new product. Wizards has stated people weren't buying new product around the holiday season, which was baffling to them. This is when the Magic 30th controversy was absolutely at its peak, so even people who now have, more or less forgiven Wizards because, time has passed and they've moved on. I haven't. I know plenty of us haven't. But the point is, it didn't fade in intensity over the holiday period. People just decided to move on and buy other stuff for Christmas. For a little over 2 weeks, players barely heard a peep from Wizards. This allowed players to finally sit back, relax, and play copious amounts of MTG without worrying about the next release. This quiet, relaxing period, however, would not last all too long. Even with a manufactured delay keeping Phyrexia all-be-one at bay for a little while longer, players were soon inundated with new sets and announcements. For some players, following the latest monthly announcement day livestream, this problem has already become too much once again. Stressing their frustrations on Reddit, Lil Glowcloud literally begged Hasbro to slow down the release schedule, highlighting the worrying string of new set announcement players have been subject to over the past 11 days. Lil Glowcloud went on to question, how is this sustainable at all? I'm not in the camp of only having 4 sets a year period, but come on. Exactly, me neither. We don't need only 4 sets a year. That'd be a set every 3 months. I get it. Maybe people want more. But at the end of the day, dropping stuff every month, that is a bit excessive. Your current business model is a breeding pool for upset classic fans. But you don't care about us so long as you got a bunch of new people who are getting into Magic the Gathering that don't know any better and are willing to shill out dollar after dollar because they don't know how things used to be. Well, good luck with that with Disney Lorcana about to come out. I wonder how much of your player base they're going to steal because you know what? It is, at the end of the day, it's the lesser of two evils. What is the... I would have, last me a year and a half ago, I would have absolutely swore up and down that you guys were the lesser between, Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, and Disney, but at this point I don't know. I mean, Disney's kind of an awful racist company when it comes to, thinking Muslim concentration camps in China, but at the end of the day, Wizards of the Coast, okay, never mind, you're still probably the lesser of the two evils, but it doesn't change my sentiment about buying new cards and you completely taking advantage of new players. It's really sad to see Hasbro milking this cash cow dry for short-term dividends rather than long-term investment. Accepting the avalanche of announcements. Considering MTG's relentless release schedule has caused near-content complaints, the reaction to Lil Glowcloud's post was rather unorthodox. Rather than players rallying against Hasbro, the majority of players seemed unusually accepting of the recent tide of announcements. For many players, their lack of concern came down to the recent wave of announcements being just that, announcements. This significant detail was pointed out by players such as Razzie Kitty, who highlighted how Wizards is just announcing sets that come out later to build hype. They're not coming out at the same time. That's how hype works. They want to gauge excitement for products. And I kind of get this argument. I really do, Razzie Kitty. But at the same time, when you're announcing so much product that you're trying to build hype for, it doesn't feel like hype. It feels like you're poisoning the well with just constant product. I'm not excited for any of these products because there's too much of it. It doesn't feel like something for fans. It doesn't feel like they're trying to give us a bunch of really cool things. It just sounds like they're greedy and want to throw everything against the wall as fast as possible to get people to keep buying because we're in a recession and they know that nerds like us are going to spend money regardless and it's going to keep filling their bottom line. Getting us hyped for products is different than being a greedy corporation. I'm capitalist. I'm very pro companies going out there and making money. I am not, however, a fan of taking advantage of your player base and of the people and fans and paying customers who've supported you for 30 years in effort to make a quick buck during a recession. I'm sorry, your fans should mean more to you than that, just like you used to as a company mean more to us. Following this, Razzie Kitty noted that despite 5 sets having been announced, the release dates aren't all entirely unreasonable. In fact, here are the details about all the latest release announcements, just to prove that point. Alchemy Phyrexia, February 28th, Shadows over Innistrad Remastered, March 21st, March of the Machine, April 21st, Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, June 23rd, Commander Masters, August 4th. Alright, this is a 7-month period. We have 5 new things coming out within 7 months. February 28th, less than a month later we got this. Exactly a month later we got this. Barely over 2 months later we got this. Barely over 2 months later we got this. 5 new major products in 7 months. That's too much. I'm sorry. If Wizards had maybe had better rapport for the last, several years, this could be forgivable. But this is a trend. This is a trend of Wizards being a greedy corporation that's just throwing everything at people to buy so they can keep lining their pockets. I said it earlier. I'm not even excited for any of these products anymore for various different reasons. March of the Machine, why am I not excited for that? Because they're doing $250 mini sets with booster packs of 6 cards. Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, why am I not excited for that? I did an entire short about it here on YouTube. They're releasing like 7 or 8 massive products. Commander decks, collector's editions, set boosters, box boosters, there's like 7 or 8 different major pieces that are, all these cool collector's editions because people will pay for anything that's got Tolkien's name on it. And I'm sorry, to me it just seems like they're taking advantage of the Tolkien fan base, which granted probably has a lot of crossover with the Magic fan base, but even so, you didn't need to do all that much. Or if you were going to do all that much, do just that. If you're going to put out 8 or 9 massive, Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth products, maybe space it out a bit. Maybe we shouldn't have anything between March and June when you do this, and then nothing from June to September or October. But here we have 5 major events in 7 months, at least two of which, are insanely expensive. And that is not counting all the secret layers and direct-to-shipping special collectible stuff that's of course going to be thrown in alongside these products here. While this release schedule will see a major product released almost every month, it appears that players are nevertheless coming around to WotC's reasoning behind the release schedule. The reasoning was recently highlighted by MTG's lead designer, Mark Bongwater, who explained why Wizards won't be slowing down releases. And here's what really gets me about this article. They're going to take the businessman's word at everything. I thought everyone on the internet were trying to claim, big business bad, eat the rich. Now all of a sudden you're cool just taking the word of a rich guy? Now, like I said, I'm a capitalist. But that being said, maybe you should at least, pick a side and stick to your guns. If you want to eat the rich and whatnot, sure, whatever, go for it, that's a stupid mentality. But then why are you going to take the rich man's word for gospel when he's going to tell you what you want to hear so that his company can make more money and quell you with half-truths, lies, or things that don't really matter, maybe trying to shift and deflect blame to you, the players, or you, the fans? Speaking on their blog, Blogatog, Rosewater stated Wizards wants to produce what makes Magic special for each player in enough volume they stay invested. This is absolute bogus word salad. That is not what they want to do. Don't give me this crap that they want to, produce what makes Magic special for each player. You stopped producing what makes Magic special ages ago when you started giving local game shops the shaft and making it all direct to order or buy off Amazon. Your people that supported you for years, your local shops where there was community, that was what made Magic special, and you have boned them over time and time again. And as for enough volume that they stay invested, you've overcorrected, you've overproduced the volume to where people like me who've been invested for years are no longer invested because you swung too hard in the opposite direction. Creating a proverbial buffet, MTG is shifting to a model where players pick and choose what they follow rather than chasing after everything. Previously, players have pushed back against this new frontier. However, it appears perceptions are once again changing. It's time to realize that the game is bigger than what you can buy or follow. Just enjoy what you want and let others buy what you don't. If the model isn't successful, it will slow down. If it is, it will continue. In a way, this is true. If the model isn't successful, it'll slow down. But to what degree? How big a stink do we have to make about it? How do we have to show it's not successful? We've already seen it happen with the OGL stuff with Dungeons & Dragons. Players threw a fit, canceled D&D Beyond, subscriptions. Papa Hasbro, Witches of the Coast, they lost tons of money, and they immediately pumped the brakes. Like, never mind, no changes. OGL's staying as it is, and that's great. But the thing is, Magic players aren't doing that. Magic players aren't stepping up and saying, we're not going to be buying your product, we're going to go ahead and switch to, Lorcana or Flesh and Blood or, whatever other, card games there are on the market. Most Magic players aren't going to touch Yu-Gi-Oh! With a 10-foot pole, but maybe they should at least threaten to. The company may have to change some of its policies, but we as players must accept we can't hoard every card, every product, just focus on things you like. That's not the point. You're completely missing the point. The point is about the greedy, take-advantage nature of Wizards of the Coast, not about us players hoarding every card. Even while players are slowly coming around to MTG's new business model and release strategy, there are still problems that need addressing. Predominantly, thanks to the myriad of announcements, keeping track of all MTG's going on can be exceedingly difficult. All the more so thanks to just how many different types of MTG products there are nowadays. Thankfully, Wizards is aware of this issue, as Mark Bongwater has highlighted the things that need to change. What I think is going on is Magic is at another flux point, and it's had many over the years. It's adapting to player desires and changing in new ways. When that happens, both the audience and R&D have to adapt as well. Maybe we have to change how we communicate new products. Maybe there needs to be a lighter track for those that want a sense of what's coming out without the depth that we normally provide. I agree the old system might not make sense in the new world. Really? The old system doesn't make sense in the new world? It worked for 30 years. What's happened in the last few, that's all of a sudden made it not work, aside from your corporate greed, especially during a recession period? But I don't think it's a reason to reject the new world. It absolutely is a reason to reject the new world. You need to reject modernity when modernity is an absolute awful thing. It's a reason to figure out how to adapt. Oh, suck my bone flute, Mark Bongwater. You have no idea what you're doing aside from if I can say a bunch of pretty words to put the Magic fans at ease and them not realize that we're dicking them down, then I can continue to make money and they can think they're being heard and listened to. Well, you're not pulling the wool over my eyes. I'd like to take this time to announce that I am doing something incredibly special tomorrow. Well, I guess today when you're seeing this video. I will be going to a regional qualifier tournament and actually interviewing Magic players competing in that tournament about their thoughts on the state of Magic, about their thoughts on Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, and all the goings-on behind the scenes, at the company and what they think of it. And hopefully that video will be coming out the next day. So if you're watching this the day it drops, tomorrow. In that instance, it would be Sunday. So yes, this coming Sunday, please be on the lookout for a video that's going to be me interviewing regional qualifier players about their thoughts on Magic the Gathering and where they think that the company, the game, the whole nine is headed. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there, be on the lookout for it. Back to the article. Hopefully, due to Rosewater acknowledging this issue, Wizards will be able to provide better communication channels to keep players in the know for the future. Thankfully, better communication isn't the only improvement to MTG's release strategy that's in the works. For example, following supply chain improvements, MTG releases should no longer be plagued by the scourge of delays. As Hasbro CEO Chris Cox recently pointed out, this should allow Wizards to better structure their release schedule. I know I could make a joke about this, but I'm slightly above that. Hopefully this will prevent players from being unnecessarily overwhelmed while allowing the game to flourish. You know, we're taking some of the feedback to heart. We had some supply chain issues last year which forced us to compress our release schedules, particularly in October. We're going to be spacing those releases out on a more even basis. Yeah, I'm sure you are, because that's why we're doing 5 sets over the course of 7 months. That's really spaced out. Like I said, guys, Magic the Gathering is my favorite game. It really is. But Witches of the Coast and Papa Hasbro is my second least favorite company in existence, and I'm sorry, at this point, I'll play with the existing cards I have or buy secondhand from local game shops and other private collectors before I give their greedy asses money. It's that simple. I still get together with my friends and play Commander. I still go to tournaments and play. I still get down on some Pioneer. I still get down on card collecting and just talking about Magic the Gathering with friends and family and making videos about it here on the internet. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to just stab my morals in the gut to get that sort of stuff. I can have it both ways. I can have fun playing with the cards I already have and take shots at this crappy company, Witches of the Coast, and not give them any more of my hard-earned bones. But that being said, I want to know what you guys think, so please let me know in the comments below, or let me know on Twitter, where you can follow me at BoatTheWord. And I am not just a Magic channel, I'm a nerdy news channel in general. I cover nerdy news every day, whether it be Magic the Gathering, Disney, Star Wars, comic books, anime, you name it. So once again, please do subscribe and be on the lookout for that video dropping Sunday where I interview the Pro Tour qualifier players in hopes of finding out where we're going with Magic the Gathering. And until then, this has been Words of Paradise.